Welcome to the Marketing Pulpit Show. I'm Robert Gatewood, your host, and I'm here every Friday at 10:30 a.m. bringing you the good marketing gospel. I'm not here to save souls. I'm here to save businesses, save jobs, and collectively we can save our community because we need an economic foundation to survive and thrive. And one of the best ways to do that is through business development, building our own businesses and infrastructure. And the best way to do that is through effective marketing. And that's why I'm here to help make that happen. We join you every Friday at 10:30, bring you a host of information, a wealth of information, some amazing guests. And I personally, I'm a business developer by trade, been doing that for 30 plus years. I have a company called Gatewood Marketing and Web. You can find it by going to gatewoodmarketing.com. I'm also an author, written a couple of books. One called Played in Full and another, Smarter Than the Boss. I'm also an adjunct professor. I teach marketing, networking, social media strategies, PR, digital marketing. That's what I do. And all of these things tie into my purpose of helping build successful businesses. And that's so important now. It's more important now than ever. We have a great show lined up today. We're going to be talking about AI and the web. There were a lot of web developers and digital marketers, and the question becomes, is AI killing the web design industry? Or is it empowering it beyond whatever it was before, making it more powerful than ever? So we're going to talk about that. We're going to have our special guest coming on shortly, Mr. Khail Cobb. He is a web developer, technical guy, very talented young man. So he'll be joining us in a few minutes. Let's see what's going on. I want to also dedicate this show to the great late Miss Kiki Shepard, who passed away on March 16th. Shakita Renee Shepard. She was a TV host, actress, dancer, and most of us know her as the co-host of Showtime at the Apollo. She'd come out there in those nice threads and spin around and introduce the guests. And I remember that, man. That was golden TV. So she did that from 1987 to 2002. She was also on Broadway. She did things like Bubbling Brown Sugar, Porgy and Bess, Your Arms Too Short to Box with God. She even made an appearance in The Wiz back in 1978. She was also, she had a business degree from Howard University, right here in the DC area. She was a member of Delta Sigma Theta sorority, and she graduated at the top 10% of her class. Unfortunately, she passed away this week at the age of 74 from a heart attack. Nobody saw it coming. Man, get yourself right. Take care of your affairs and things you need to do. Because, man, I'm telling you, you don't always get a warning. Sometimes you can be walking down the street. So get things in order now. Make sure you have your pay on demand at your bank straight, some kind of will. If you have a company, have some kind of succession plan. What's going to happen if something happens to you? So we get these reminders every week. And so let's take heed and prayers and condolences to the family of the beautiful sister, Kiki Shepard. Another milestone today is first day of spring. Spring has sprung. Man, about time. We have some weird weather. Maybe I'll get rid of this weird weather we've been having. 90 degrees one day and snow the next, sometime the same day. Wind blowing your hair off your head. And so let's hope spring is a good thing. Now, from a business standpoint, we can look at spring as a time for renewal, to regain momentum, almost like a second new year. So quickly on some tips I want you to take under consideration as we go into this spring. First thing, I want you to look at your brand messaging. This is for you business owners out there. Make sure your theme is based on things like renewal. It's a good time to do that. If you've gotten old and stale and people just move on. People love new things. So look at your brand and give it a little new beginnings feel. Maybe you can do a spring campaign, offer some products or services to kind of put people in the mood, put yourself back on the map. And this is a good time to update your visual identity. Brighten things up a little bit. I mean, I've been trying to do that. I mean, I look back at some of my old branding, like I was in a cave, all dog. And I mean, it was cool at the time, but look at some of those photos you have out there, some of the images, your videos. Just brighten them up. Just go ahead and give it that fresh, light look. And people will notice and they'll respond. It's time to re-engage your audience. Reach out, send out the newsletters, reach out to people on social media, do some posts, get them engaged, get them back on in your line of fire. And look at your digital presence. Go to your website. I've been working on my website. I haven't worked on it in probably 20 years, gatewoodmarketing.com. And I'm taking some of this same advice. So I had to spruce things up a little bit, put a little animation and some AI and all this kind of stuff. So this is a good time to do that. Spring, renewal, get that momentum back. Introduce something new, a new service, new product line, or just rename some of the stuff you already have. Just give it a new, fresh name, repurpose. Spring has sprung. Let's jump on this spring bandwagon. Take a look at your business goals. Yes, spring can be your second new year. You don't have to wait to December. Okay, we've gone through the snow and the ice and the wind and the rain. We've gone through challenges in the government. People have been laid off. But let's look at, in light of this information, let's reset, recalibrate. You might think about doing some type of spring webinar, host an event, invite your clients, potential clients, stakeholders. You can do things virtually now. Cut back on some of those expenses. Also, don't forget about wellness and balance. You got to take care of yourself. So if you're not already, get on some type of regimen. Walk, drink water. I started doing this a couple of years ago, and it really makes a difference. I get on the treadmill probably about 4 or 5 times a week. That's how I start my day. I've cut back on soft drinks and alcohol. I drink water. So many things I don't do that I used to do that were not good for me. So if you're thinking about doing it, let's take this spring as an opportunity to kick those things into gear. And also do some decluttering. Look around your office, your operation, your business. Some of that stuff's got to go. I mean, those old 8-track players, and I mean, you might need them at some point. Maybe you're trying to do some type of legacy thing and a lot of this old paperwork. Scan that stuff, put it in PDF formats, digitize it, declutter. It's taking up valuable psychic energy and space. So in a nutshell, spring represents renewal and momentum. Refresh, reconnect, and realign. And that's going to make you stronger and more prepared for the months ahead. That's my spring message. And thanks again, everybody, for tuning in. I see people are tuning in from all over the place. I see people coming in on YouTube, on Facebook, Instagram. And if you want to want me to shout you out, just go ahead and drop your name in the chat, in the feed. You want to plug your business? Hey, that's what I do. But I'm not going to charge you today. If that's what you want to do. I see Brother Bradley Thomas. He said, Blue Phi. Blue Phi. We're members of Phi Beta Sigma fraternity, one of the Divine Nine. So when you heard me say Kiki Shepard was part of the Delta Sigma Theta, that's also part of the Divine. And the Divine Nine is the 9 Black fraternities and sororities. So good morning, Phi Beta Sigma brother, attorney Bradley Thomas, who has his own show on every Thursday at noon. I see brother Gerald Brown, the greatest plumber in town. Hey, boy, that's my amen corner. Thank you, brothers. I see brother William Maxwell. He said he's going to launch some new projects that will help businesses in the contractor space. I know he's going to do it. And he's going to be William's one of those guys when he puts his mind to something. Man, he's like that Energizer Bunny. He gives up sleep, water. I don't know about all that, but he commits to it. So I know whatever you come out with that, brother, I know it's going to be amazing. So thank you for setting the example and the tone for the rest of us. Let's see what's going on here. We're going to talk about AI is in the news everywhere. Jeff Bezos is looking for $100 billion for AI-driven manufacturing fund. Man, why Jeff Bezos got to ask somebody for money? Doesn't he have all the money in the world? That's what those rich folks do, though. They don't use their own money. They use other people's money, which is smart. That's kind of like one of those separators between folks that have money and those that don't. They never use their own money. That's weird. I've been starting to do more of that. People say, why don't you just pay off your car? Why? Keep my money in the bank. If this darn thing break down and the world come to a halt, I turn that sucker in and I still have my money. You can't take that money, you can't take that car to the food line, to the grocery store. All right, let's see what else is going on. There's an AI hiring boom fueling the New York City office market renewal. In other words, these companies are shoring up. They're laying people off on one hand, but they're bringing in this AI talent. So we're seeing a major shift in the workforce. And if you haven't already, it's time for you to start thinking about how you're going to fit into this. Are you going to be on the outside looking in? Today we're going to talk about how AI is impacting one of my core services, which is web development. I've been doing web design since Buck was a calf, since Chet was a puppy. And I have so far been able to keep up with it. I remember when it went to CMS. I remember when it went to Flash, animated GIFs. But man, this AI it's a new game. So what we're going to do, we're going to take a quick break. When I come back, I'm going to bring on my special guest, Mr. Khail Cobb. We're going to talk about this thing together. I have one of my old clients. He's got a needle full. 95 years old, passed away last year. His famous quote was, "I'm still learning." So he was 95 years old. 95 years old, and his trade signature quote was, "I'm still learning." So throw me in that camp. And the day you stop learning is the day you stop growing. So if you want to figure out how to get out of the web business, or any business for that matter, stop learning. So hang on a second. We're going to take a quick break. This is the Marketing Pulpit Show. I'm Robert Gatewood, your host. We're here every Friday at 10:30 a.m. Go to Marketing Pulpit. You can watch the show live. You can also catch us on YouTube, LinkedIn, let's see, what else? Facebook, Instagram. We got them all covered. But if you don't have social media, or if you don't feel like looking up those platforms, just go to Marketing Pulpit. We are right there. The show can be watched live on the homepage. And also go back and watch the shows. You can watch past shows. Somebody told me yesterday, hey, so why didn't you tell me Gatewood had this show? She was saying now that she discovered it, she can't stop watching. I said, well, it have that impact, but you gotta go there and check it out first, and then you will get hooked, especially with the kind of guests we bring on. So hang on a second. I'm gonna be back in a minute. This is the Marketing Pulpit Show, so hang around, don't go anywhere. All right, I'm back. I'm back. This is the Marketing Pulpit. I'm Robert Gatewood, your host, and we are here every Friday at 10:30 a.m. bringing you the good marketing gospel. I was listening to Sirius XM this morning. Uh, Lamont King and Dr. Greg Carr. A great show. And they had this guest on. Guy came on, man. He was talking. Everybody was excited about what he was talking about. I was listening, man. I was glued to the set. And so the Dr. Carr asked the young man, "Give us your web address so people can find out more all these great things you're doing." Man, I could hear him sweating through the computer. I'm like, why is this man stumbling over his web address? So he said, "Look, it's not up right now, but we're gonna handle that within the hour." And let me tell you, Sirius XM has millions. We're not talking about hundreds. They have an average about 2 million viewers, listeners on a typical show. So this person on the air, 2 million people listening, and his website is down. Man, let me tell you, I had to go lay down, had to go take a nap. I had to go check that one off. I mean, it wasn't me personally, but I mean, my guess he can probably relate. Let me bring Khail up here. Khail, welcome to the show.
Hey, how you doing?
I bet you've heard some of those kind of stories, haven't you?
I definitely have, especially in this era that we in with AI and it taking off, and people are allowing it to not only build their business plans but build different website content, marketing content, and at different times it still fails them because of the execution isn't there. So they might, like he was saying, have the website, but it's not up and running. It's not optimized. It's not ready for mobile. It be those different things that somebody has to take care of that an AI can't take care of unless that owner is interacting with that AI. So, yeah.
Yes, sir. Well, give us a quick introduction on you. I, I, I had the pleasure of meeting Kyle at a networking event. I'm always talking about networking. Matter of fact, I did a class on networking this week at the Prince George's Community College, where I'm an adjunct professor. And I met Kale through the BLE networking event. We have the first Friday of every month. And so
Oh,
this stuff works, ladies and gentlemen. I'm telling you, you better get out of there and get out here and meet some of these sharp folks. Anyway,
yeah.
give us a quick introduction there, Kale.
Yeah, so I'm Kale. I been in the web design and the marketing business for 13 years. Our focus is to build websites for our clients while using their website as the foundation to help streamline sales and build funnels. During this time, I've been able to work with a lot of different industries, from real estate to clothing brands to restaurants to authors, the whole nine. So I've been able to get a real good scope of the industry when it just forms around both web design and marketing. And so with AI and just new tools coming in, and with my background in computer science, it allowed me to really see both the inner workings of what's going on, how it's affecting the job market, and then also how the client and customers are reacting to it.
Man, I was looking at this some data the other day. It said 97% of marketing executives say AI is critical to website success, but only 18% of the practitioners say that their platforms are AI ready. So there's a major gap between the leadership and technical execution. In other words, the leaders are saying, hey, we're looking at numbers. We know we need it. But the folks on the ground at this point don't seem to be making it happen. There's a gap. So I just want to have a discussion with a fellow technical person.
Mhm.
I've recently been certified in AI agent design. I've been doing websites now since the websites came about, probably longer than anybody I know. But just in a nutshell, let's look at the big picture, Kale.
Mhm.
How would you describe the impact that AI is currently having on web development?
I would say it's having an impact where the web developers, programmers, we all run off what the client or what the customer is leading towards. So I saw this wave when I saw HTML and CSS go to Java, JavaScript. And a
Mm-hmm.
lot of developers had that problem of making that transition because Java is a more complex programming language, but it has all those extra level features that we wanted in the 2010s. So that's the same era that I'm seeing, or the same wave that I'm seeing with AI with the same programmers. They trying to figure out what's the best way for them to adapt and go to this new market with machine learning, and then also mixing that with the customer. But since the leaders, like you were saying, is making the rules, they can fire everybody because they nobody has AI on their resume if you wasn't in college when AI was coming about and you was able to grab those few classes or work on those early projects when only Amazon was using AI or machine learning on a corporate level. So that's really why we in the midst of having this confusion on where to go both with leadership and developers, and then it's leading down to the customers not really having no direction, so they openly using it without it really doing anything.
Now you mentioned coding like Java, the CSS cascading style sheets, and
Hmm.
HTML, PHP, the whole bit.
Yeah.
But AI is writing code. AI is
Yeah.
writing code right now. So how is that changing? So the people that spend all this money and time learning code and Java, people doing vibe coding now. I noticed in the AI in the agent design field, vibe coding is basically you the coder, but you're letting AI help you move it along. So how is that going to change the dynamic about people who've spent all this time and energy learning how to code, is that wasted or is that just something that can be leveraged? I mean, what do you look in your crystal ball and help us out here?
Yeah, I love this analogy because I'll compare it to sports. So it's similar to if an athlete was training the real way and then AI was to come and now I can just adapt it within my flow
Right,
because I'm able to see if I have the training of programming language, I'm able to see where AI failed, where it gives me something where we didn't have to use that much memory. We didn't have to use that much space. It was easier ways to do longer form coding. These are different things you able to, or you able to see the security breaches in advance because you have that coding background versus an athlete that really gets into it and they get on steroids and they able to get all the advantages. But when you take that advantage away, they have no skills because a person that is using the vibe code, why would they go out there and really train themselves on programming languages? Why would they go read books on HTML, even though all the sites still run on HTML? They don't think they need that
right.
level of coding. But when they asking questions to the AI has all this in mind already. So they thinking you do too. So when they make a mistake, they just thinking you can catch it because you talking to me as the expert. I didn't know you was talking to me as just a regular human being. And
Right.
that's where the vibe coding has a problem.
Yeah, it reminds me of when CMS first jumped on the scene, the content management systems, and these companies had everybody thinking they could just do a website. People who had never even touched websites all of a sudden think they're web developers. But then they didn't realize there was things like API integration, short coding, embed coding, all these things that they don't really give you when they give you this new shiny platform toy.
Mhm.
And I look at AI somewhat the same way. Yes, it gives people this, it seduces people into believing that they can walk on water, but what they realize they don't have a platform underneath. They just gonna sink once they jump on it. And
Mhm.
I'm not here, believe me. I'm I look at AI as a tool. That's exactly what it is to me. Like I said, I've seen all of the fads, the shiny objects, the buttons, the new this and the new that, the waves, the trends. And now AI though is transformative, unlike some of the others.
Mhm.
AI, this is the first tool I've seen that can take an entire day of my work and condense it into 5 minutes. Now that's something that this is transformative. Now, but as a person who knows, I can go back and check whether that's right or wrong because I'm in that field, like you were talking about with the athlete. You just don't become a web developer overnight just because you have AI. So you have to. What I've advised people to do, Kale, is to stay in your lane. Use that tool if you're a web developer to help you become a better web developer. But don't wake up tomorrow and say, look, because I have AI, now all of a sudden I can be a brain surgeon, or I can be an attorney. It just doesn't work that way. Now we have these design automations. Well, now you have it. It writes content. It can lay out your design. I'll give you a quick example. Somebody called me. I get all the calls these days. I just stopped doing work and just become a consultant. Just save people gray hair and from jumping off bridges. So a guy called me. He'd been a client of mine for many years, and he said, "Look, I went on WordPress and I really built this nice website, but now I want to take it and put it onto my website host, my web WordPress hosting account." Now, we didn't realize that even though there's a WordPress.com and there's a WordPress.org, totally different animals. You can't take that WordPress.com, which is really like WordPress for dummies. You can't take that and put it on your self-hosted WordPress platform. And he had spent all this time thinking that at some point, let me get Cal back on here. He had
If I'm
spent all
back.
this. He had spent all this guy spent all this time thinking that he could take the WordPress.com website and move it over to WordPress.org that was self-hosted. He was frustrated. He's pulling his hair out, and once again, it accentuated, it reminded me of people trying to do this themselves. AI has led many people astray into thinking that all of a sudden they can do something in an area where they have no expertise. Go ahead,
Mhm.
Kyle.
Yep. Can you hear me good?
Yes, I hear you. Yeah, you went out for a
Okay.
minute, but you back.
Oh, okay, perfect. Yeah, so that's where the confusion comes because like you were saying, when the self-made or self-template services came out for websites, it opened up the door for different things like AI to come over and think it's just a one solution for everybody, but it's not because it still has certain limitations that it just generally has. And it's because these platforms are coming out so fast that they're not booted to handle all different solutions. They don't know that, oh, you asked for a testimony section. Oh, I just gave you a testimony section, but I made it all over the place because you didn't say I want it horizontal across the middle with a background that's red that fade the images. These are the different things that the AI is expecting. That's why the prompts is so important, but you can only prompt to a certain degree. So I love when clients bring me AI sites that they want to revamp because it gives the programmer a starter template of what the client was thinking about. But I do see it always having a problem when clients try to use it themselves.
Well, that brings up the question: is this a threat or opportunity for web designers? Let's say we did a SWOT analysis. You do your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, and you're a web developer. Will AI replace developers, or will it elevate them? Like I said, I'm asking for your perspective on this.
Mhm. I would say a overnight developer, it will replace them because they're going to follow the trend of whatever the new topic is, whatever the new technology is. It's similar to when cybersecurity became popular and a lot of people was getting their certifications for that. And then that dropped down because we wanted these cybersecurity people to bring new data, new methods to the table, and they couldn't because they were just following the wave of it. For the
You're
real
right.
develop,
You
yep,
remember Y2K, and
yep,
all these folks went out and thought they were going to become millionaires overnight, learning how to code, and we're going to fix this Y2K problem, not realizing that Y2K is only going to come around once every 100 years. And once the threat was gone, company just laid all these people back off. They're back out in the
correct.
workplace. So that's a good point that you said that AI might replace the new web developers, the ones who are not grounded, the ones who are just kind of woke up one morning and decided to be a web developer because they have a new tool.
Mhm.
But folks like who are seasoned, understand the marketplace, understand how cycles come and go. I think this is one of the best opportunities they've ever had. Go ahead, Kyle.
Yes, I would say it is going to come to a point where you just have to continue to spread your horizon, spread your palette as a developer. So now it goes into, okay, I was a web developer only yesterday, but now since AI here, I have to be a web developer that can decode AI, or I can tell if a site is created by AI. So now I can give the client certain rules or certain values to improve that site because I know the platforms or the tools that they're using. And then also, why I tell a lot of developers, just sit back and just relax because the AI, it has to come to a halt and the hot air balloon has to pop. And there's going to be a lot of security breaches. It's going to be a lot of things that was built with AI that's going to fail in that process. And only real developers can get these things back to rolling, and especially if the companies don't want to hire developers or they just want to continue to have these small um, 5 to 6 developers just handling AIs, they not gonna have the skill set to be ready for if it all crashes because They thinking of it in the future of, okay, AI is going to be around as long as the internet, the way that people using it. So we looking for the real developers and the people that I teach and train. I'm telling them, hey, just hold tight, keep learning the foundation. It's like still practicing your left hand if you playing basketball, even though everybody's doing crossover, you still got to start in front of the basket, shoot, back up, shoot again, back up, shoot again, just to get the 30 points tomorrow. So that's what we teaching still in the developer realm as far as the people that really want to do it. I know a lot of the news is telling them different things like the enrollment rate for computer scientists is going down, especially at some of the bigger technology schools in California. But these are just scare tactics that they always had because
Right.
it's the majority that's leaving. The majority wasn't supposed to be here in the first place. So that's what I really tell the real developers. But for the overnight ones, I'm definitely in fear for them.
That's good advice, Kale. Now, what is it? I'm thinking about this. If somebody's trying to hire a web developer today, and what should that company think? What should they be considering? What should they be some of the boxes they should be checking off? They're looking to hire a web developer today in this age of AI. And
Hmm.
let's assume they made the leap that I thought I could do this myself, but I can't. So let's say we've already eliminated that group. We're talking about the group that finally decided, okay, let's bring in a web developer. I need a website, or I need to upgrade my existing website. I've changed. I'm rebranding. I'm changing my products, my core competencies. What should that company look or think in terms of when they're trying to bring in a web developer during this age of AI?
During this age of AI, the company just have to figure out what can the AI provide me to, then that I can then pass off to the developer to bring out the best of my vision that I want to perform. Because they're gonna get to the point where a person or a business that's really focused on brand story, really focused on product development, really focused on funnels, they gonna know I can't just rely on AI to build me the site that I want to achieve those different goals long term. So it's just using AI where you can until you reach that limit, and then it's time to transfer over to the expert.
Well, let's look. Let's put on our crystal ball again as we come to a close here. Let's look 3 to 5 years down the road. And I'm like I said, this is all it's all speculation because we really don't know. But one thing we do know, we've been around long enough to watch trends, see fads come and go,
Mhm.
understand the industry life cycles. Everything goes through an introduction, growth, maturity, and decline. Running it through that prism, through that lens, 3 to 5 years, what will web development look like for developers and businesses for that matter?
It will still be around because it will be the main source of point A to point B for business to client or business to customer relationship outside of brick and mortar, outside of app development and different things like that. It will still be around, but the way that it will be executed will all determine on the advances of AI and then how far the developer community slash marketers are still pushing the narrative that they are the experts in this field. So I think it's one of those things where if the client still is looking to buy back their time and want to focus on what they good at while they allow the expert, which is the website developer, which is the marketer, which is the copywriter, to focus on their expertise, then that 5 year vision going forward should look successful. But the minute that alignment isn't there, it could change.
All right. I tell you what, I'll put your information on the screen. Folks, we're talking to Khail Cobb, he's I'm going to say a technology expert. His capabilities extend beyond web development, and he made a good point. If you're going to stay in this industry, you can't pigeonhole yourself to something as narrow as web development. Not in this age of AI. You better learn cybersecurity.
Mhm.
You better learn how to code. You better learn AI and anything else because right now, technology, like many industries, is built in an ecosystem. Everything is interconnected. You can't just live in one vacuum area and expect to survive in this business. You have to be like Walmart. You have to go in there and get your food, your groceries, your technology, and that's how you have to brand yourself and prepare yourself in this era of AI. So, any closing thoughts there? Any thoughts, closing thoughts, or advice you want to give out to the audience before we get out of here? And you can repeat your information again.
Yes, yes. I definitely would love to leave them with that. I am a big advocate of AI and automation and algorithms. I just understand the backing to it, and I know that there's limitations to it because it's a financial gain that's behind it. So people are releasing these AI products fast. People are releasing these robots fast. They're not releasing it necessarily for the benefit of the customer all the time. So there's going to be a lot of shining objects out there that might look like they're ready to go, but they still in beta mode, but they needed funding. They needed support. So they released it and told you all the features that it was going to come with, but those features aren't there. The security not there. So I just say, as you using these different platforms, link with an expert that knows or that can look into them, but also just be cautious and have fun with it. They definitely can still put you in places where it's going to give you value, but you still got to put the execution behind it.
And I'll say this, Kyle, thanks again for your practitioners, for your designers, web designers, people who are in this space. People are looking for answers, but they're also looking for trust. They're looking for somebody they can trust. They're nervous. So I'm just give you a good to the audience, to the people who are in the web design field, technology field. If you can convince your potential clients and your clients to be that you're that trusted source, that trusted provider, that's going to take you beyond your technical skills. I'm just telling you
Mhm.
because we found out, you can go find the technology. You can go to ChatGPT or Claude or Gemini and get the answer you're looking for,
Mhm.
but you can't go there and get the trust. And that's a word to live by. Kyle, I want to thank you again for joining us today. And I'm sure we're gonna have you back, and I hope you don't mind me calling on you from time to time. And we may have to turn this into a series or something. But I really like the fact you have your hand on the pulse. You're knowledgeable, and you've done our audience a great favor by showing up today and coming strong with some
Yes.
valuable information.
No, I definitely appreciate it. I appreciate everybody coming out. And yes, we can definitely turn it into a series anytime you got any openings. I definitely want to hop on the phone, on the computer whenever we can, just to chop it up, just either on local news on what's going on, or just deepen and going deeper on the marketing and web design industry so people can still be aware and they can still take advantage of these new developments.
Thanks again, everybody. It's Kyle Cobb. Thank you, brother. All right, ladies, you heard it. Ladies and gentlemen, you heard it. That was Kyle Cobb. He's a Kale Cobb, very talented young man in the technology field, web design, cybersecurity, AI. And this information is worth sharing. So feel free to share our information. Like us, follow our platforms, and we'll be back next week with another important guest and information. And we're here every Friday at 10:30 a.m. Also, if you're in the DC area, don't forget about our first Friday networking event, which is the first Friday of every month. We have it at 9701 Apollo Drive in Largo, Maryland. Go to marketingpulpit.com. You'll see the banner on the right hand side. You can also go to blesweets.com/events. I'm there every first Friday. We're talking about things like AI. We're talking about things like the the empowering power of networking and building relationships and collaborating. And you may have some information you'd like to share with us. Also, if you want to become a guest on the show, go to marketingpulpit.com and go ahead and sign up. You'll see instructions on how to become a guest, or you can send me an email, gatewood@marketingpulpit.com or robert@gatewoodmarketing.com. That's going to wrap it up for today. We'll be back next week. And as always, if you want to be successful, you have to do these three things. Do the right thing, do it at the right time, and you must do it right. Enough talk. Let's get to work.